Motivation is temporary. Commitment is a promise. It's something that no matter what happens, whether it's raining, it's snowing, you feel like it, you don't feel like it, guess what? You're doing it. Commitment. You think I wanted to be putting out these damn bandit signs? Have you guys seen how hard the dirt is in Arizona? I had a wet, literally wet, and then and sometimes I have the wooden stakes and, hammer them down. That wasn't easy. Hey, how's it going? It's Carlos Reyes, allinnation.com, and I'm in the green room backstage for Command Presence, the Command Presence event hosted by Dom Fawcett. Just want to say thank you so much to Dom and his staff for having me, and I'm looking forward to impacting some lives today. So I'll talk to you right after I get off stage.
I gotta tell you, I just checked out our next speaker, and there's two sets of people that. Actually, three. Everybody overcomes, or you can choose to overcome. All of the military. I've said over and over and over again. But the other people that I'm in awe of are the people that come to this country from other countries, no matter where it is, because they come here with a dream. They come here chasing the American dream. And my friends, our next guest is the American dream. Please welcome Mr. Carlos Reyes.
Thank you. Sure. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Are you able to raise it a little bit? I think. Okay, there you go. Thank you so much. How's everybody doing today? Do we have any 1%ers in here or any future 1%ers in here? Right? Beautiful. I don't want to spend too much time on my story, guys. For that, you can follow me anywhere, and you can kind of get a rundown of what it was to be in my situation, to be before I was this person that I am now, right? I'm a serial entrepreneur. I in the entire Southwest region. God willing, I don't know if it's true or not, but I think we have the biggest real estate operation as far as the acquisition of houses that we pick up throughout California, Nevada, Arizona, and Texas. I think some of the companies that spend a little more than us would be Opendoor, OfferPad, and Zillow Offers. So as far as private company goes, so we have 27 companies. It's all over the place, different sectors. You got solar, medical, software, digital marketing. It's all, it's pretty diverse, right? So I became a mentor because I believe that at some point when you automate and delegate your business, you really have the desire to serve, to serve other people. You're like, okay, I'm done with that. I'm already building my empire. Well, let me help other people build theirs, right? So at some point that my why and my purpose changed. And that's kind of where I fell into. I fell into this. Everybody's why is different. When you start, you're like, okay, my why was to not be, poor as, dead broke, poor as hell, right? So that's everybody's why at some point when you're born into the kind of poverty I was born into. And then it changes. You're like, okay, now I want to be the first one in my family to, buy a house for us, right? Because my mother never, bought her own house. She never made more than $8.25 an hour. I was born in Mexico, and I was brought here illegally twice, by the way. Not once, twice. So the first time I was brought here illegally was California. And we lasted about, I would say, a year and a half, and then we didn't make it financially. California's a very expensive place for a single mother, right? My mom got her papers, her immigration status here through Amnesty. And we were very excited about that because then she can start fixing our paperwork, right? First time, came through a sewer system in TJ up to San Diego County. It's called Escondido. Lasted about a year and a half. I went to elementary there. It was 4th, 5th, and a little bit of the 6th grade, and then boom, back to Mexico, right? That was the first time we failed. So then I went back, started bagging groceries there in Mexico, Guaymas, Sonora. Started bagging groceries there, and my mother was working at the resort in San Carlos. We're like, okay, we're gonna save enough money to get over here again. Let's try this again. So we saved up enough money, sent her back to Phoenix, and then a year later, she came back and got me and my brother, or my brother and I. And the next time, I came first. She paid a coyote $25 to get me through a fence in Nogales, right? And you know, when you're that age, I was like 10, 11 years old, and she just says, hey, you know, mijo, which means son, I'm gonna, you know, this guy's gonna take you to me on the other side, right? I need you to trust him, you know, I'm gonna be waiting for you on the other side. I'm just a little kid, so when he tells me to duck or when he tells me to, you know, jump or go through the hole in the fence, I did. And then she was waiting for me at the McDonald's, brought me up to Phoenix, Arizona, started fixing my paperwork in 1997, and it was a long, expensive, and extensive process, and then I became a citizen of the greatest country in the world, right? Who agrees with that? The greatest country in the world, right? So again, that's who I am, right? That's the 3 a.m. version of me. This is the 3 p.m. version of me. This is what everybody sees, right? Everybody's like, oh, wow, you're pretty successful. You know, you have your dream cars, your dream house, you live your dream life now. But that wasn't always the case. And I get asked all the time, you know, hey, how did you get to where you are now? And for me, it was adversity. Like, that was my X factor. Adversity was my X factor. You know, I was born on one side of the pendulum, completely opposite, and then it just started going, you know, the other way. And, you know, here I am now. But it's, you know, when Dom invited me to come here, I didn't really prepare, because I said, you know what? I like to serve people based off the vibe or, you know, the energy that I get in the room. And, you know, I said, you know what? I'm not going to bring a presentation. I'm not going to do anything like that, because I speak at a lot of real estate events, a lot of sales events, and different strokes for different folks. Everybody has a different necessity. And I feel, and I could be wrong here, but I feel like in this room, we have, or even the folks that are watching us at home, you know, online, we have a lot of folks that are kind of stuck, right? They're stuck in this vicious cycle where they're stuck right in the middle of what they want for themselves as far as an ideal life, and then their comfort zone of how they cannot let go of their habits, right? A lot of folks, that's it, you know? That's what it is for a lot of people. And what I wanted to ask, you know, some folks here right now is, I want you to raise your hand if you are older than the age of 30. Older than the age of 30, we got a few people here? Okay, we got a few people. We got some young guys here. 20s, 19, man, you can fail 30 times and you'll be fine. You know what I mean? So thank God, right? All right, well, raise your hand if you make $1 million plus a year. Okay, we got a few people, right? So raise your hand if you don't make $1 million a year yet. Okay, there you go. So the mind responds, especially our subconscious mind, it responds to questions. And what's crazy is we all have the answers internally. We all have the answers, right? If you ask yourself, if you're just sitting down one day, you know, and you just say, well, why am I not where I want to be? Why am I not successful yet? You know, I've always dreamed about success. I dreamed about having my own company, having my dream cars, having money in the bank, blah, 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 right? The list goes on and on, right? All the, you know, external stuff. Well, if you ask yourself, why am I not successful? And that part of the problem is a lot of people aren't willing to be honest with themselves. They're not, you know, it's like, I don't know, like some kind of defense mechanism that, you know, when you ask yourself these questions like, why am I not successful? Well, you don't put enough work, you know, and then right away your brain wants to justify it. Like, oh, wait a minute. No, you do put enough work. You just don't have time, right? And that's a big problem. That's a big problem for a lot of people in this country, right? I had adversity. I had no choice. I mean, I couldn't, you know, I couldn't continue the way we were. Again, my mom never made more than $8.25 an hour. She worked 2 to 3 jobs my entire childhood and teenage and some of my young adulthood. So I kind of had no choice, which is, it's a blessing, right? It's a blessing, but that's not the case for a lot of people in this country. You know, you guys have a choice. You guys have a choice. And a lot of folks are just wrapped up in that comfort zone. You know, the bad habits, the bad friendships, the bad relationships, things that don't serve them and don't serve others. And people just cannot snap out of that vicious cycle. Raise your hand if you've ever been in that situation, by the way. We got some honest people, right? I'll raise my hand, you know. I didn't tell you guys this, but I worked in corporate America for, 12 years, right? I worked in corporate America for 12 years. And because I knew what it was going to take. I knew what it was going to take. Okay, when I decide to really be successful, right? I already knew, because as a kid, I worked my butt off. So I'm like, I'm gonna take a little bit of a break. I'm just gonna, clock in, clock out, be an entrepreneur, work my way up. And I did. I made it all the way to where I went from getting a few dollars a year or a few thousand a year in raises to like, hey man, you're kind of capped out here, 10 cents, 15 cents. That usually happens at some point in corporate America, right? Right? Raise your hand if you've been in that situation. Like, oh, you gave me a whole 10 cents this year. Thank you. Right? Yeah, it's crazy. I cannot believe, it's what we go through, right? So I knew that when I made that decision of like, okay, you know what? I've allowed my corporate comfort zone to kill what my dream has always been. And that's to be a business owner. That's to be an entrepreneur. That's to retire my mother, which I did in 2017. That's to retire my wife, which I did in 2017, right? To give them everything that I never had, right? I had to make that sacrifice. Nobody in my family or the history of my family ever said, well, you know what? I'll make the sacrifice. I'll be the lamb. Even if it costs me my health, my friendships, right? My relationships, my hobbies, everything, right? Everything. I remember when I first started flipping houses, by the way, can you put that picture of me like with bandit signs? Like I started with $0. You know how you guys hear that? Learn how to flip houses with $0, right? And you're like, oh God, here's another scam. Correct? That happens all the time. That's how I started right here. This is a 2006 Nissan Rogue in 2015. 2006 Nissan Rogue. That's 100 bandit signs that I used to put out every single Friday from 11 p.m. to 2 in the morning for 6 straight months. 2,400 bandit signs is what it took me to get my first deal. My first deal. And I haven't looked back. That first deal changed my entire life. That first deal changed my entire life. Who would, fast forward now 5 years later, right? Who would have ever thought like the dude that was dropping bandit signs out of a 2006 Nissan Rogue has a Rolls Royce Wraith and a Porsche Cayenne Turbo, and I got all the goodies now, right? I've had the luxury. I would probably never buy a jet, but I've had the luxury of I got Jet Smarter and Fly Private, all that. Who would have thought 5 years? Just 5 years. Like who's willing to sacrifice their entire life for 5 years to live your ideal life? Right? Can I get a again? Raise your hand. Who's willing to make the sacrifices for the next 3 to 5 years to have everything you ever wanted in life? God, I know the young guys are. And by the way, for anybody out here, I'm in my mid-30s. Anybody out here that is in their 30s and 40s and 50s, I don't know if you guys ever read the book Think and Grow Rich, but most millionaires, they actually become millionaires after 40, because that's when all the distractions go away, right? That's when they start to settle down. They got the wife, they got the family, and they don't have all these distractions. They're not thinking about what club they're gonna hit next, right? What date they're gonna go on that weekend, They're not out there trying to impress people. By the time you're 40, you probably don't give a shit who thinks what of you, right? They're like, oh, I'm 40, I don't care what you think about me, right? So that's why that happens. But I want you guys to write this down because I got 3 minutes left and I appreciate your time. All right, I want you to write this down. This is my internal success formula everything that I tell you guys, it's not something I read in a book or a script. It's from experience, right? It's from my experience. So my 5-step internal success formula, just write down 5-step internal success formula. 1, you have to make a decision. How many of you have made that decision? Be honest with yourselves. Raise your hand if you really made that decision. See, very few hands went up. Okay, we got a couple in the back there, right? Make a decision like, okay, what is it that I want for myself? What is it that I want out of life? What is it that I want for my loved ones, everybody around me? Make a decision. Number 2, commitment. You have to be committed to that decision. Now, commitment is different than motivation. A lot of you folks in here might be motivated. Motivation is temporary. Commitment is a promise. It's something that no matter what happens, whether it's raining, it's snowing, you feel like it, you don't feel like it, guess what? You're doing it. Commitment. You think I wanted to be putting out these damn bandit signs? Have you guys seen how hard the dirt is in Arizona? I had a wet, like literally wet, and then and sometimes I have the wooden stakes and, hammer them down. Like, that wasn't easy, but I committed. I said, I'm going to take the next 6 months to do this because I am miserable. I'm miserable and I want more for myself. So, number 3, we got make a decision. We got commitment. Number 3, the S word, sacrifice. You're going to have to sacrifice everything and anything. Why do you think these kind of results are not for everybody? Results may vary, right? Because most folks, 97, 99% of people are not willing to make the sacrifice. They're not. And I hate to say this, but there's a strong possibility that you may not make the sacrifices after you leave this event. You may feel like, oh, I'm gonna freaking do this. I got this. I'm gonna do it. And then something happens, life throws some BS at you, and guess what? Commitment goes out the window, sacrifice goes out the window, everything, right? So you're gonna have to sacrifice everything and everyone. If you have a wife, you gotta have that conversation that I did. Hey, babe, you're not gonna see me for the next, 12, 36 months, 48 months, however it's gonna take, but I'm doing this for you, for me, and for our 8-year-old daughter. Now she's 8. I missed the first 4 years. I was there for the important stuff, but I wasn't there, for every single day because I was killing myself, right? So, sacrifice. Number 4, work ethic. Have you ever met a massively successful entrepreneur that didn't have the work ethic? I haven't. I met 7-figure, 8-figure, 10-figure guys. They all have a crazy, obsessive work ethic. And 5, all right, perseverance. Not quitting. Don't quit. Failing's okay. You young guys right here, you fail. Guess what? Don't quit. That's when you really fail. Okay? So guys, my 15 minutes are up. God bless you guys, and please go out after this event and take massive action, okay? Take massive action. God bless you guys. Thank you.